TDS has 6 golden skins that take hours upon hours of grinding, but which of them comes out on top? A lot of them have specific cases where they're at their best, so this is going to be a more in-depth tier list where we're going to look at factors like cost efficiency, overall performance, and more. So sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. Oh, but consider subscribing, it literally took like 5 months of grinding to get the skins for the video. So firstly, we have Golden Crook Boss. Overall, this tower is not that bad, right? In level 1, it already spawns golden bodyguards on the path, which can have a big impact on long or even curvy maps like Wasted Battlefield or Toyboard. The level 2 upgrade is also decent as it gives hidden detection. Overall, at max level it can spawn up to 3 units, but assuming it has around 2 on average, it has a total DPS of 118.82. To put this into perspective, it comes in at a cost per DPS of 115.09. Now that's pretty insane, as other maxed golden towers are basically half as cost efficient. However, this assumes the bodyguards are always busy shooting, which is unlikely. As for how it compares to the default variant, in terms of DPS, the golden variant is roughly 45% more cost efficient. Now sure, this is great and all, but there's 3 things holding it back. Firstly, the placement limit of 4 makes this tower basically useless in all modes besides squad. The second is range. It has a range of 15, which is really going to make this tower a lot weaker than what the cost efficiency makes it look like. Thirdly, support towers. Spawners are not buffed by DJ nor Commander, making their maximum DPS a lot lower than all the other golden towers. Considering this, sorry Corso, I'm going to have to place Golden Crook Boss at B tier. If you use this tower on its best map though, it's a high B tier tower. Next we have Golden Minigunner, probably the most well-known skin out of all of these. The tower is overall good on paper, right? No placement limit, good range, hidden detection, and even lead penetration. At max level, it has a DPS of 129.63 and comes in at a cost per DPS of 213.29, which is overall better than alternatives like Turret and Ranger. Now this is great and all, but one tower heavily overshadows this tower, and you already know which. Paintball Accelerator. With better range and cost efficiency, there's almost no reason to use Golden Minigunner over it. However, the placement limit of 8 makes Golden Minigunner good at one thing: solo hardcore. With no placement limit and it actually benefiting more from Commander than Accelerator, it's the perfect tower to beat hardcore. It's likely also a good choice for attempting to solo the other special game modes as well. Now what genuinely shocked me is that compared to the default Minigunner, Golden Minigunner is only 0.8% more cost efficient. This makes my overall ranking of the tower A tier. However, if Accelerator did not exist, it would likely be even S tier, but no. Next, Golden Pyromancer. Now personally, I thought this tower was a bit overhyped with it just being a slightly better Pyromancer, but after using it, I get the hype. In comparison to the normal max Pyromancer, it deals basically double the DPS at nearly the same cost, which is pretty insane. Now there's a couple reasons why this tower is so strong. Firstly, it gets hidden and lit detection immediately on level 0, which makes it a really versatile tower. It's also really cost efficient where, assuming it hits 4 enemies on average when maxed, it'll have a DPS of 188.04 at a cost per DPS of 103.169, which is overall really good for a crowd control tower. Now alongside this, it also has a burn time of 20 seconds that'll deal a total damage of 320. This means fast enemies like Leches with 200 HP literally stand no chance of leaking from the get-go, which is kinda nice. Now what I still find issue with is that you usually don't want to place more than 1 or 2 of them. This makes it not that great for trying to fill up your tower limit to the max. There's also recently been an update where fire and freezing support can't mix, making it not go well with towers like Cryomancer and Frostblaster. Overall, it's an insane tower, however it's hard justifying a tower slot for it in my opinion. I'll be placing it in S tier, but like it's actually between S and A tier for me to be honest. Next we have my personal favorite, Golden Cowboy. Now, I love this tower. It makes for a viable alternative to farm as it's a good balance of income and damage. On the max level, it has a DPS of 54.6 and a cost per DPS of 409.34, which is really awful. But of course, it compensates with its money generation. Most people think the normal cowboy is better at making money, but this is not entirely true. See, the normal cowboy can be placed immediately on wave 1, making it get cash for longer. Golden Cowboy meanwhile is a bit more expensive, forcing you to get it on wave 2 or even later, leading to it having less time to get cash. Overall, Golden Cowboy is a bit better, though it still has its main competitor, a piece of grass. Overall, you're only better off using Golden Cowboy when you need the extra damage when playing solo game modes like Hardcore, where you need all the damage you can get. This tower is so close to being great, but not being able to place it on wave 1 leads to a long early game, which really brings down its appeal. If not for this, I'd give it A tier, but due to that shortcoming, I'm giving it B tier. Next, we have my first golden skin, Golden Soldier. This tower has been underrated for quite a while until the recent events where it started becoming meta for the Halloween and Christmas events with their flying enemies and its overall good cost efficiency. Its max level has a DPS of 54.35 and comes in at a cost per DPS of 210.67. It's commonly not upgraded past level 2 where it gets hidden and flying detection though, so its more realistic cost per DPS is on level 2 at 179.04, which is solid considering you get hidden and flying detection also. The Golden Soldier in comparison to its default variant is 43% more cost efficient, which is overall a pretty good increase. It's in my opinion at least the most comfortable pick out of all of these towers, as I use this tower the most between all modes due to its versatile kit and overall reliability. Though it's not the best at early game like Golden Scout and Gladiator, its general usefulness in all modes make me give this tower S tier. Now for the tower that's the most comparable, Golden Scout. Golden Scout since and still has been seen as one of the best golden towers since release. It's just simply the most cost efficient early game option, with it only having the slight weakness of having below average range. It's the cheapest tower out of all of the skins at a low cost of 200 cash, and since you start off with 600 cash on most game modes, this means you can fully utilize exactly all 600 by placing 3 level 0 golden scouts for a DPS of 5 right on wave 1. Now when maxed, it has a DPS of 36.76 and comes in at a cost per DPS of 176.02. Now this isn't bad at all, but its best level is actually level 0, which has a cost per DPS of 120.48, which is S tier value. To put it into perspective, compared to the normal variant, it has double the cost efficiency, which is a pretty massive jump in performance. Its upgrades do however start becoming really bad from level 3, so upgrading it past level 2 is not really recommended. This makes it not a great option as a fuller tower to take up tower limit space, especially considering its poor damage on its max level. Overall, it's a great tower for early game and lives up to the hype it gets. I'd say although it has some flaws, I still think it deserves being placed in S tier. Now, which is better, Golden Scout or Golden Soldier? One key factor is early game, where you start off with 600 cash. For that price, you can place exactly 3 Golden Scouts for a DPS of 5. Meanwhile, with Golden Soldier, you can get a level 1 down for a DPS of 3.58, which is roughly 40% less compared to Golden Scout, although you are getting 4 more range from Golden Soldier. From this we can say Golden Scout is more oriented for speedrunning, so I'd say it's better for the casual survival game modes like Boltyn and Folden, and maybe even Pizza Party, where you'll usually place towers at the front anyway. Golden Soldier meanwhile has better cost efficiency for hidden detection. This makes it dominate everywhere else, with its level 2 upgrades hidden and flying detection coming in super useful. Overall, I prefer using Golden Soldier, however depending on your playstyle, I can definitely see people preferring Golden Scout. But I did a poll and Golden Soldier wins, so take that.
Marvel Studio 3級大突破，兩大支嘢重逢舊宇宙。7月24，死侍與。